Feminism gave us choice. It gave you choice to be a stay-at-home mom, and it gave me choice to, no, it actually took away.
Has the feminist movement completely backfired?
Don't believe in feminism.
For years, the message was clear: men needed to step up or get left behind. But in 2026, something unexpected happened. A growing number of men didn't step up, they stepped out. And now they look more stable, more focused, and strangely, ahead.
So I feel like a lot of women these days choose to be single because in 2026, men think that they're women. They want to be chased. They want to be provided for. Like, they think they're the bad bitch in the relationship. Like, no. Like, you're a man. You're supposed to chase after your woman. You're supposed to provide and protect. And I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like, the roles have reversed, you know? Women have to step up and be like the man in the relationship. Like, what the fuck?
For the longest time, being single as a man was seen as a failure. It meant you couldn't compete, couldn't attract, couldn't succeed. But now that narrative is flipping, and it's making people uncomfortable.
Feminism gave us choice. It gave you choice to be a stay-at-home mom, and it gave me choice to, no, it actually took away your choice. Because as soon as the government realized that women could be manipulated into being a voting bracket and to contributing to a 2-household income, and that they could tax that, everything broke after that. You guys are the same people that complain about the fact that we cannot survive off of a single income household, which is true. I'm not going to argue that. But you can't in one breath say that you can't survive off of a single income household in 2026 in America, and then also say that you have the choice to be a stay-at-home mother this day. And let's just for 1 second grant you the idea that back then we had absolutely no choice, which is not true, but I'm just going to grant you that idea. Wouldn't you rather have the obligation that actually left women much happier than they are in 2026 right now? Women are on record levels of SSRIs, antidepressant and anxiety medications, therapy sessions. Women are not happy. Neither are men, but this is about women right now. Sure, there were things that women dealt with back then, but overall happiness rates were better. Women could stay at home with their children. They didn't have to outsource care to some other person. Feminism was the perfect lie that gave you the illusion that you have choice, while turning you into a sheep that votes for whatever they tell you to. So yeah, I'd rather not have choice. Honestly, I'd rather not have choice. I'd rather it be one way. And that one way, I'd prefer it to be when women were happier and could stay at home with their children and cook and clean for their husband and not listen to another man that's not their husband tell them what to do all day at a 9 to 5. Feminism is a lie.
Because these men don't look like they're losing. They're not desperate, not chasing, not trying to prove anything. They're building routines, stacking progress, and living without constant pressure.
Has the feminist movement completely backfired? Did you know that 70% of women in Australia are forced to work just to make ends meet because a single income no longer sustains a family? Before all this, you could never get women to work. But now, they literally have no choice. Have we been blindsided? Feminists promised us freedom of choice. But what have they delivered? They've delivered a failing economy and forced slavery. How on earth did they convince us that we should leave the comfort of our home, abandon our children just for a 9 to 5 job, and then call that empowerment? How does that work? Has the feminist movement completely backfired? Did you know that 70% of women in Australia are forced to work just to make ends meet because a single income no longer sustains a family? Before all this, you could never get women to work. But now, they literally have no choice. Have we been blindsided? Feminists promised us freedom of choice. But what have they delivered? They've delivered a failing economy and forced slavery. How on earth did they convince us that we should leave the comfort of our home, abandon our children just for a 9 to 5 job, and then call that empowerment? How does that work?
What changed wasn't capability, it was perspective. A lot of men looked at modern dating and relationships and simply asked, is this actually worth it? And for many, the answer wasn't convincing.
Don't believe in feminism. I think that if men are willing to do more and do more, then they should make more. That's the first argument. Everybody's like, men shouldn't make more money than women. I don't want to be a carpenter. Get up for me. I want your seat. Like, there's no reason we should get rid of those pieces of chivalry all for feminism. I don't know. Like you said earlier, we're taking it too far. We're taking it too far. I think that there are certain positions in society that are comfortable for a woman. And when you start pushing the men out of the other positions, then the women have to step into the ones that are uncomfortable for women. And I'm not willing to do that.
Instead of forcing participation, they redirected their focus. Fitness, finances, hobbies, personal goals, areas where effort leads to clear results. That consistency becomes addictive over time.
50 years ago, Title IX gets introduced for women. 50 years later, they've blown the roof off the glass ceiling. It doesn't exist. 2 women for every 1 man completing a 4-year US college degree by 2030. Women earn way more than men do in their 20s. Way more. It's going to be difficult for you to find an eligible partner as you begin to climb up your own socioeconomic ladder. As you get higher and higher up, you look across and there are fewer and fewer men.
And once that lifestyle is established, going back starts to feel unnecessary. Not because relationships are bad, but because they are no longer essential to feeling complete.
Excuse me if I don't make any sense for a moment. I'm trying to get into the mind of a feminist, okay? So they want equal rights, right? So whatever that means to them, probably abortion, right? Bodily autonomy. But that doesn't mean equal rights for men, because men still have to sign up for the draft, get circumcised without their bodily autonomy permission. They don't get to hit a woman back if the bitch slaps him. And they have to work in society. For society to work, men have to work, not women. So how in the world does feminism still make sense to this day? Once women achieved the right to vote and have their own bank account, I think that's where it could have fucking stopped. Because what the fuck are you even fighting for anymore? Because it's not equality, it's superiority, it's narcissism, it's vanity, it's nonsense is what it is, it's nonsense.
Meanwhile, expectations in dating didn't slow down. If anything, they became more complex. More standards, more filters, more pressure. And when effort increases while clarity decreases, people hesitate.
Recently, I've been seeing these videos of what it's like to be a man in 2026 and how hard it is. And all I gotta say is, bro, it's time to dismantle the patriarchal, colonial, hyper-capitalist world that we live in. Your beef is not with the women. Your beef is with the game, bro. Don't hate the player, bro. Hate the game. It's the game. The rules were made before we were born. So you have a couple of options. You could unsubscribe and live the life you want to live, or you could play the game and play it well. You choose.
So instead of competing harder, many men opted out entirely. Not loudly, not angrily, just quietly stepping away from something that didn't align with their priorities anymore.
Isn't it crazy that a male feminist was just nearly taken down by a feminist? This guy, Justin Baldoni, has staked his entire identity on being a man who worships feminism. So much so that his life's work is a movie he directed and starred in about domestic violence against women. And what was his reward for being such a powerful ally? His feminist co-star taking over his movie and then suing him for sexual misconduct on set. Yeah, so it turns out that positioning yourself as a male feminist does not gain you an ounce of respect. It actually just makes you a target to be taken advantage of because they all just see you as a beta.
I don't even know what to say to this other than, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't actually know how to respond to that.
What's surprising is the level of contentment. These men aren't constantly complaining or looking for sympathy. They're just fine. And that calm indifference shifts the entire dynamic.
If you are wondering what dating is like, I just got out of the gym and I watched a couple walk to their car and the man opened the door for her to his car. And I reflexively, like instinctively, was just like, oh my God, that was awesome. And he just chuckled. And I was like, yeah, the bar is truly in hell. The fact that him opening up a door for his lady was so shocking that it like made me audibly say something. That's what dating's like right now.
It's the women who are ending up with nothing. And the men they still somehow, in many cases, make their way around. But then you also have the men going their own way movement and the ones who aren't touching it, right? But you manage to get through the maze with everything, and then all these women are left over.
Yeah. And then you have the incels, right? You have those who are going to say, there's men who are they're not getting anything, right? Those who feel like they're left over. So you're going to have that population. But I understand what you're saying. Like at any point, there's not the same restraint of time biologically on men that there is women. That's just not debatable.
Yeah, but the women who are left over are incels too.
Because when someone is content alone, they are harder to influence, harder to pressure, harder to convince, harder to pull back into a system they've already questioned.
Do the men understand that the more they throw a tantrum over 4B, the more women are going to participate in 4B? Literally, whether they know about the movement or not. Because we are living in an age where women have their own money and their own agency, whether you like it or not. And I know you don't like it, but it's the reality. Women have jobs and they have careers and they don't need you. So the only reason why a woman would have a man in her life is if she wants a man in her life. And to want a man in her life, the man has to make her life better. And the reason why a lot of women are choosing to not date men is that the men don't make their lives better, they make their life worse and more difficult. I have heard so many horror stories about men's strange behavior from my friends. I've been married for like 6 years and I could tell you it's a rough world out there for dating. I know so many women who've had so many consecutive bad experiences with men that they've just sworn off dating and they're like, you know what? I guess I'm just gonna be single. And it's not a political statement on these women's parts. None of them have cited politics or some desire to be perpetually single and just never have a partner for some ideological reason as their reason for doing that. It's just, they're like, wow. Every time I've gone on a date with a man, it's been bad and awkward. I'm not interested anymore. Anyway, if that's the reason that women have their own money and they're only going to date you if you actually add value to their life, having a tantrum about the idea of 4B and trying to force women to have to date men is not going to make women want to date men, I'll tell you that much. So if your solution to being perpetually single is going around and threatening women on the internet, good luck, my friend.
This isn't about one side winning or the other losing. It's about changing incentives. When the environment changes, behavior follows, and right now, that behavior looks like disengagement.
You got the not feeling the chemistry text again. Well, here's why. Feminism has completely destroyed the confidence of men. You're afraid to even lean into your jokes, or even make them to begin with, because you're afraid of offending a woman. You're completely unwilling to acknowledge her appearance, or physically touch her because you're afraid of being creepy. And you're afraid of revealing interesting things about yourself because you think you're weird and have nothing to offer compared to that 1% man. In short, you're a nice guy, and nice guys don't stimulate women. So what's the solution? Simple. Start acting like a man. That 1% man energy is nothing more than making that woman you're with feel like a woman. Take it from me, women know what men are like. So when you're holding back and acting timid, we instantly lose attraction. Do you really think that we put on our best outfit, a full face of makeup, and cute heels just so that you won't notice? We're trying to impress you, and the men that understand that are the ones that throw timidness out the window. They have the courage to establish physical touch. They're not afraid to say risky things. They aren't afraid to connect with a woman. So stop being scared, stop being timid. Embrace your masculinity and go put it on full display for a lucky lady.
And when enough people disengage at the same time, it creates a visible shift. Fewer relationships forming, more people staying single, and a growing sense that something fundamental has changed.
The ladies are going to hate me for this one. Do you know who I would hate to be in 2026? I would actually hate to be a man. I would hate to be a single man looking for some love. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because the expectations that women have these days are just on another level. They're on another level. And he needs to be this, he needs to be that, he needs to be on this much money, he needs to be able to provide me with this, that, I'm going to tell you something. Speaking from experience, I'm 41 years old. I have had the man that could buy me whatever I wanted. I've been in that relationship, and I can tell you now The thing that is more valuable than that a man can bring to the party once you're married and you're settled and you've got children, is the man who's willing to help you. The man who can see you drowning and is willing to help you. I do not buy the story of, well, I work hard, so I shouldn't have to help. Excuse me, my husband's a concreter. My husband's a concreter. He works in a physically demanding role and he will still make beds. He will still vacuum when he sees shit on the floor. He still pulls his weight, and especially when I'm sick or I'm drowning or if the kids aren't sleeping or the kids are sick, he ups the ante. Why? Because he doesn't want to see me suffer. So all these women out there with these bloody checklists, right? Just rethink your checklist, okay? Because you can have the person that can give you all the physical things, but you know what? It's an illusion. Take it from me. Take it from your big sister, Lauren. I've lived that life. And I wouldn't swap this life for the world.
At the end of the day, the real story isn't conflict, it's choice. A growing number of men are realizing they have options beyond traditional paths, and they're choosing what feels stable, predictable, and peaceful.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.